Baldur's Gate 3 is absolutely still slaying it, boys.
Baldur's Gate 3 is an insane anomaly. It's actually crazy to see just how many people are still engaging with the game. Not only does it deserve all of the accolades, but the long-term retention of this game has been kind of amazing to see, especially for a single-player title. The numbers we're seeing for this game you'd expect out of a live service. Now, I don't have to tell you about the fact that this game got universal acclaim. 96% Metascore from 117 critic reviews. It recently...
That's amazing. And keep in mind, they did not buy critics off, unlike Bethesda. That literally demands that critics give them a 10 out of 10, or they're not getting the Elder Scrolls 6 release early review.
Won Game of the Year, and this game is just riding high and celebrating as it deserves to. Now, let's take a look at Steam charts numbers. Looking at these figures, you'd expect that this is information from, a couple days or a couple weeks after the game has launched, but this is right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is months after Baldur's Gate 3's release. The game launched on August 3rd, 2023, so it's been September, October, November, December, January. It has been almost 5 months, and yet this game is still...
Look at that, it's going up. That's crazy. So, you're telling me a bunch of guys who had girlfriends, which is unbelievable, because how can that happen, got gifted Baldur's Gate 3, and it's going up here. This is insanity. Or maybe this was the news that it literally won every... that it won first place in every Game Awards in every category possible because it's just that good. That is crazy. Look at that. Last 30 days, average 150. Dude, that is wild. That is wild. Their lowest currently has been 100k. Wild.
Retaining roughly 30% of its all-time peak player number of 875,343 according to Steam charts. And looking at the graph
wait, I didn't even notice that. Look at that. Playing in the last 2 hours, that is beyond wild. Did they go on a sale or something?
And looking at the graph itself, you can see the peak number of players every week since launch, and obviously the game had the most amount of players around launch time. But after that, you can see that it was still in the 6 figures, and it eventually evened out in roughly the 200,000s kind of figure. But you can see that after a dip, it just rises back up, and now we're seeing it really rise up following its Game of the Year award win.
I mean, Baldur, you know what's the thing? Think about it. We're replaying Fallout New Vegas for how many times now? And it's still fun, right? Just different builds. But Baldur's Gate has so much more infinity replay possibilities, it's absolutely crazy. Dude, this game is gonna be talked about 10 years into the future at this rate. Unless Baldur's Gate 4 is even better. Which it hopefully will. No, it will be better. 100%, it will be better. I believe. I choose to believe. But yeah, look at this. Dude, even if Baldur's Gate 4 doesn't come out, Yo. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be talked 15 years into the future, probably, as one of the greatest things in gaming.
Following its Game of the Year award win. Following the Game Awards and following the holiday season, this game got a significant boost in player numbers, and it's hovering at player numbers that even live services wish they could have. And then scrolling down, if you look at average players, you can see that it started out really strong at 450,000, and then it obviously slowly dipped.
It's actually insane that this many people... Look at this. This is 2K average per month players playing the game before its release. That is actually impressive, considering you didn't have access to the full game at that point. That is really, really impressive, if we're being honest. These numbers alone beat, honestly, a lot of games.
But still in the 6 figures, and over the last 30 days, the average players is looking higher than it was in the last 2 months. Usually the trend with single-player games is people are slowly but surely finishing them and eventually kind of tank, and it kind of peters out.
Finishing Baldur's Gate 3, I don't know about that. Baldur's Gate 3 has more cutscenes than Game of Thrones has episodes in total. You know? Well, not episodes in total, but the cutscenes in Baldur's Gate are longer than the whole Game of Thrones series is, which is unbelievable. Baldur's Gate is like 200 plus hours of cutscenes or something like that. So yeah, it's hey, if someone unironically plays Baldur's Gate slowly, they're probably gonna play it for 2 years if they're playing it like 1 or 2 hours a day and taking off the weekends or whatever. It's gonna take people years to finish it, unironically.
Out with only the most hardcore of players remaining to replay the game or whatnot. But the thing about Baldur's Gate 3 and what makes it so special is that aside from the incredibly high bar it's set in terms of quality, the storytelling, the characters who are so beloved, the gameplay, the RPG and progression systems, just it being such an addictively fun game aside, it is also extremely replayable, not only because the campaign is extremely long and narrative developments can occur so differently based on your choices, but also the fact that the game encourages you to play through it a second time because you can not only play as a custom character, but also characters with their own background stories, and you can also make new choices with those characters. And then there's like the Dark Urge, which is essentially a whole story within itself if you follow that path and lean into the dark urges, if you will, combined with the fact that there's so much gameplay variance because of all of the different classes that they pulled from Dungeons and Dragons, and there's so many different abilities and ways you can customize your character, and in turn combat can feel vastly different depending on how you customize and create your own character, what class you pick, what abilities you kind of lean towards, combined with what your party composition is. There's so much just variance in this game combined.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single person who has experienced the majority of the game at this point, considering classes, roleplay, and decision making. It would surprise me if there are people who have actually experienced the majority of the game, so to speak.
With the fact that it's such a long campaign, combined with the fact that there's so many different ways things can play out, that this is one of those games that, I mean, the density of it is insane, and you can keep playing it for what feels like forever, essentially, because with every playthrough, it feels like you're discovering something new about.
And the bug fixes. Don't forget that Larion is actually bug fixing. They bring out a patch that fixes so many things, so many minor bugs, not even big bugs, that it looks like an expansion for most games.
About this game. The combination and culmination of all of that is player numbers that are completely unprecedented for a single player experience. I mean, look at this data on the homepage of Steam charts. If you look at the top games in terms of concurrent players right now, as I'm recording this.
Well, this is actually pretty insane. Look at that. CS2, 1 mil, and then there's Dota only on 600k. And then there's Baldur's Gate, bruh.
Baldur's Gate 3 is third place, only beaten out by Dota 2 and Counter-Strike 2 in terms of total.
Team Fortress is literally 99.9% bots, by the way. Don't worry about it.
Current concurrent players, it has beat out.
But it's still fun. I will tell you this. Team Fortress 2, still fun.
PUBG, Battlegrounds, Grand Theft Auto Online.
Spy mains, where you at, my boys? You know how it be. You know how the good life is. Oh, man.
Team Fortress 2, Rust, Call of Duty, the finals, all these games that are live service. The fact that these games are being beaten out by a single player game that has been out for 5 months, at which point many other single player games tend to peter out and not see these kinds of numbers. Like, that really highlights the kind of achievement that Baldur's Gate 3 is, even compared to other more single.
By the way, if Baldur's Gate just had, let's say 20k players playing at this point left, I would call that still a ginormous win. So, having almost 300k people playing that bad boy is beyond reason.
Player focused, campaign focused experiences that saw huge successes on Steam. Baldur's Gate 3 is kind of at a level above. So Elden Ring, for example, you can see that there's still plenty of people playing this game, which is amazing. And this had an all-time peak of almost 1 million players. But the retention of its player base, you know, you can see that 5 months later, we got down into the 5 digits instead of the 6 digits that Baldur's Gate 3 retained after 5 months. Though, you know, again, this play race is still going very strong. So, and I mean, once the DLC comes out, I imagine that these numbers will peak again.
Yeah, Shadow of the Earth 3 or Earth 3. I'm not even sure which one is correct.
And then Cyberpunk 2077, the all-time peak for this is somewhere between 800,000 and a million, based on whether you go to Steam charts or other Steam data pages. But you can see that, I mean, this had a really strong start, and then
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, this is dead. Man, it released on December for, you know, the Christmas special. And look at that. Oh, the fall off. The fall off was tremendous. It was insane. Because it was buggy. It was that bad, unironically.
player numbers dipped into the mid to low 5 digits, which is still strong numbers for a single player game. You can see that these numbers dipped back up after the release of certain patches, after the release of Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and after the release of the game's expansion. So that's also showing.
Yeah, again, Edge Runners is great watching.
Just how much people engage with single player experiences when they're comprehensive and extensive and fun and high quality. And, you know, with Cyberpunk, once they're in a good place. But Baldur's Gate 3, man, this is a juggernaut unlike anything I've ever seen. Again, we're talking about 6 months in a row that this game is at pretty good 6 figures numbers. And not just peak players, but also average players are retaining 6 figures. As far as single player...
Imagine if they had just a single microtransaction, by the way. Man, that would be crazy money.
Their games on Steam goes, I've never seen anything like this ever. This is literally completely unprecedented, even by the high standards established by releases like Elden Ring and Cyberpunk. And this is just Steam numbers, keep that in mind. I can only imagine what figures look like on PlayStation and Xbox. If you combine all of those figures, the concurrent...
Oh yeah, true. It did release on those platforms also.
Player numbers for Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, it probably is amazing.
The level of engagement that this game has gotten must be through the roof and above many live services even, which are so obsessed with keeping players engaged that they take certain systems and mechanics and monetization elements too far, and it ends up having the opposite effect, where something like Baldur's Gate 3, the engagement comes because I feel like the game was first and foremost made with the intent of, let's just make the best game possible with no compromises. Anything that compromises the experience, we take out.
Oh really? You feel that? Oh really? Wow. What an epiphany, boys. Yogi feels that. Wow.
And that's a result of having leadership like Sven Vink, who runs Larian Studios, which is both the publisher and the developer. And Sven...
Okay, man, it's like magic with Young videos, right? You get literally to the 66% mark, you know? When 1/3 of the video is left, and your boy Young is just rehashing old things to just get the video longer. He never fails at this, now, does he? Amazing. Anyway, that's the skip part. We're gonna get the Young out part. Let's see where it is. Probably here.
On Young
Wait, no, we missed it. No.
Further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions. Stay tuned right here on Young I'll see you guys next time. Young
Well, it was good. It was funny. Anyway, yeah, that was Young Hey, Baldur's Gate is absolutely slaying it. It is what it is. The poem, dude, we knew this. We knew if some kind of single-player game comes out that it's actually that good that people are gonna play it for that long. Like, let's be real, we already have good single-player games that kind of achieve it, but they're worse than Baldur's Gate and choices and whatnot, right? So it was only a matter of time until something as great as Baldur's Gate comes out, and there you have it. There you have it. Anyway. This was Quizzer Sensei, and thanks for watching. Subscribe, haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.